Welcome to Grumpy Old Reds. Yes, it's not Happy Old Reds, well, at least from my part. Where it finished Newcastle 4, Forest 3. But we won the second half. Evening, everybody. Hope you're doing well, and welcome to what I'm hoping is a bit of therapy for me. Oh, shit. Hold on. Oh, just shut up, you stupid. I hate my voice. Anyway, I was getting an echo off the other screen. Yeah, hope you're well. Hope you're well. Wolfie, never be early again for what? Yeah, I'm just going to be late from now on. Anyway, I don't know where the boys' heads are at. I know I'm probably the hottest head right now. Hope you guys are well. I'm looking for some therapy tonight. Give us that therapy, but make sure you've hit the like button. Make sure you've subscribed as well. I'm not even going to say hi to these lucks. I don't really care how they're doing. I just want to jump straight into it. I don't know. Who wants to go first?
Don't know, jump at once. Go on.
I'll go first.
Well, thanks for watching, everyone.
I'll go first. Look, I've held out for saying this for a few weeks because he's got credit in the bank for me. But Aina doesn't half look like a lazy player. That's how I'm going to start this. Aina is lazy. And none of those players played well today, although Ryan Yates was quite good, but none of them played well today. But Aina, to me, he keeps getting beat on that right-hand side. And we can see now that teams are targeting him. So that's a big one for me. And I saw that a lot today. And I've been seeing it the last few weeks, but I haven't mentioned it. Now, unlike some people, we heard a rumor, which is not really a rumor because it's from our contacts, but we know that there's been a bit of infighting within the team, a bit of unhappiness within a certain bunch of players. So when we were going into this match today, I was actually expecting us to lose because I think that our season, the reason we've done so well is because we keep hearing the team is together. It's the best dressing room in the Premier League. Everybody's got belief in them. If we've now got a person upsetting that personality of the dressing room, then it's all going to go downhill. So I don't have any details on it. I'm sure Wolfie will go into it more. But if there's somebody in there who's upsetting the personality of the dressing room, it's only gonna go one way. So whoever that person is, they've got to go. They've got to get out the team. Don't put them on the bench. Just get rid of them, because this is going to happen. If we're falling apart psychologically, we're going to start becoming, an Arsenal and bottling everything. And the third point I want to make, and I know Rob's going to try and wind me up, but I've seen a ton of comments saying that, oh, we played really well the second half. The second half, we were brilliant. The reason we played well the second half is because Newcastle went from 100% effort to 1% effort.
Thank you.
There was no need for them to come out and do anything but wait for the full-time whistle.
Teams do that. Yeah. We did that. We did that.
I'm not blaming them. I thought Newcastle played well. But there's people out there saying, oh, we played so well in the second half. We played well because Newcastle just sat back and waited for the full-time whistle. We could have put a five-side GOR team against Newcastle in that second half and played well. Because all they were doing is waiting for the for the full-time whistle. Yes, we played well in the second half.
Point, mate. To be honest, we should have come away with a point with that second half.
We nearly did get a draw, to be fair. But people are doing it they're saying it in a way that, like, wow, we came out and we changed everything and we were amazing.
No, I don't think anyone's saying that. I don't think
they are.
You should see some of the comments. People think that we came out and played this amazing football in the second half because Newcastle let us.
He didn't change anything at half time, did he?
They sat back. They went ultra low block for 45 minutes. So that's what I've got to open.
Thing is, Crypto, you're correct in saying that they took the foot off the pedal in the second half. But it did get to a stage where that was not foot off the pedal. That was struggling. We did dominate that second half. I think that they got into the mindset of being defensive, and they couldn't swap it. And when it went to 4-2, it's not like all of a sudden they thought, oh, we better get a goal. We carried on and made it 4-3, and then it carried on again.
I agree with your point. The point I'm trying to make is that Newcastle changed tactics at half time. If they just carried on, we would have probably got beaten 8-0 to the 8-1 today. Yes, we came back. Yes, we did well in the second half. Yes, we did well to combat their ultra low block tactics. But if they wanted to, they could have just come out and finished us off completely.
This is what I'm saying now. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, but you say that they would have, if they wanted to. I think once they were in that mindset, I don't think they could. Otherwise, when it went to 4-2, which is starting to get, a team coming back, they would have attacked us again.
That's why the 7-0 was so surprising, because we didn't take our foot off the gas. We kept going, and Brighton made it really easy for us. Sorry,
I think it's more of a mentality thing than a tactic thing.
Yeah.
The mentality of the players, they thought they'd won it.
So what I was reading from the Newcastle fans is that when they're a few goals up going into half time, quite often they would just come out and sit back.
Yeah.
That's
mate, I've seen that game 1,000. I've seen that game 100 times. Whenever a team goes in 3, 4, 5 goals up, the second half is nearly always flat.
Yeah, I'm not blaming Newcastle. I thought Newcastle played well.
It was rather like our game with Southampton, wasn't it? It was like our game with Southampton, but we were the Southampton.
Rob,
yeah, exactly, Rob.
Exactly. We were guilty of it in the Southampton game.
And again, we nearly lost it at the end.
Yeah.
So
but the point I'm trying to make is that there's Forest fans out there who think we came out and played like prime Barcelona.
There might be one or two. I think the majority.
I think we did play well second half. But as you say, it's because Newcastle.
Let's not obsess about what people who aren't here might be saying.
Well, you're going to say the same thing, Rob.
No, I'm not. Don't tell me what I'm going to say.
Wait, can I just bring Rob? I got to say, Rob, you've literally given me a light bulb moment. I've been sitting here thinking, when have I seen that before? Southampton, you're bang on. Yeah. And you showed me the Forest fans that were saying, oh, well, Southampton played really well in the second half. No, all the Forest fans said, well, we put our foot off the gas and stepped off it. Literally, that's the most profound thing you've ever said on here.
Yeah. Well, I'm not now. I'll retire.
But the team still has to come on to you, and we still have to do what we had to do to make it. And the fact that we only added on 3 minutes of injury time is absolutely
shocking. That was
a joke.
Nearly
up, and they were.
Why is that shocking, Ez? Why is that shocking?
Because you never see 3 minutes. Never.
Do you know why you never see it? Because our manager made one substitution or phase of substitution.
Even if you add
30 seconds added.
Who did we have to bring on that would have improved that? Yeah. That's the problem. We didn't sign anybody in the window.
Okay, right. We've all said it's a game of 2 halves, so let's split the 2 halves. The first half, that's where it all went wrong. Now, the starting lineup, which we did get a little sneak peek of, why he felt like he had to give Dominguez that start. He wasn't the starter for me. It was a 4-3. It should have been a 4-3-3 out of possession, of 4-2-3-1 when we're in possession. And I would have had Sangare in the middle of that 3 and Anderson and MG Dub either side of him. That's how I would have started. Why he went with Dominguez, I don't know what Dominguez does really. I think we've given him too much of a easy ride because we're comparing him to Yates all the time. But I don't know what he really brings to the team. And I thought he was poor today. So the starting lineup for me is where Nuno got it wrong. I think he should have played. He's got to play a number 6. And player number 6 is. Otherwise, why have we got Sangare? Why did he even bother playing him in the cup? Because if he's not ready, he's not ready.
Tactical analysis of that first half while we're on the first half. Yeah. So what it feels to me like, just read out what I've written down, then hand it back, right? It feels to me like away from home, we've been found out a little bit, right? Because if I put that game together with the Bournemouth and the Fulham game, they were all the same, right? In that we were basically sitting back, inviting pressure, looking to break, right? But I counted 9 out balls that we had in the first half. And by that, I mean a pass that was from our half to the other half. Only 1 connected to a Forest player, which was to Elanga, and he got tackled immediately, right? The other 8 went straight to the foot of a Newcastle player and started another Newcastle attack. So it was just relentless attacking, just like Fulham and just like Bournemouth. And they had 20 minutes where they were just unstoppable, right? Now, I'm just going to give some facts. It's not excuses, but they did get, in that 20-minute spell, they got every decision, right? Gordon spent half of the first half horizontal. He seemed very protected by the referee. He's run into the back of Aina and bought a free kick, which has led to one of their goals, right? The penalty is in my opinion, bullshit, right? Because they showed it over and over again at like 10% speed. And it's going into his hand over and over again, right? It's like, play it full speed. What possible chance did he have to get his hand out of the way of that cross? It was, we're talking like
that's
a tenth of a second.
I'm sorry, with the rules the way they are, that's a penalty.
No, the rules are the rules. And the rules are, can I finish? The rules are that the hands have to be in a natural position. I can show you
that is not a
200
natural
times,
position.
200 times
It
in that
wasn't
game
that. It wasn't
where
that.
somebody has jumped up
Right.
and their
Was
arms
he
have gone
right?
up when they've jumped. Can I finish? Right. So I don't believe that people jump up in the air with their hands strapped to their sides. Right.
That's
so
what we expect you to do.
That's what they're meant to do.
Well, anyway.
Yeah, it is, and it's wrong. I agree with Rob. The way
so
that
wrong.
it
You
is
agree
wrong.
it's wrong.
Just to
But
finish.
under the rules,
Also, 2 of their goals benefited from very kind deflections as well, right? So just for that period of about 20 minutes, we couldn't contain them, but everything went just about as badly as it could, right? So just to finish, I have watched 5 shit halves of away football. Bournemouth 1, Bournemouth 2, Fulham 1, Fulham 2, and Newcastle 1. So the fact that the second half wasn't completely shit is all I'm taking hope from. Absolutely, they took the foot off the gas, but I do feel that Nuno moved the team further up the pitch, and so we weren't completely under the cosh the whole time. So that's the only positive I'm taking from that, right? I'm not making excuses for it. It was still bad, okay? That's the end of what I had to say.
All right, just before I bring us back in, right, just on a happier note, it's Graham's birthday. Ryan's asked, yesterday it was, Ryan's asked us to give him a shout out. Ryan said, is his dad birthday, recently. He's a huge fan of FFTV. His name's Graham, and it'll make his year if he could get a shout out. So from everyone at FFTV, many happy returns, Graham. I'm sorry you had to watch that crap today. I'm sorry you're having to watch this crap now. But I hope you had a good birthday. So shout out to
happy birthday, Graham.
Yeah, happy birthday, Graham.
Thanks for watching, mate. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't know if he's in the chat now, but if you are, shout out to you.
Yeah, make yourself known if you are in the chat,
Make
mate.
yourself known, yeah. And shout out to Matt as well with the 4.99. Deer in headlights have better form than our players at present. If we have a toxic individual, they need to be sent packing. Too many happy clappers, says Matt. Thank you
if that is
Nuno was pretty ruthless last season, getting rid of the likes of Worrell and co. So I mean,
okay, let me just clear this up, though. Let me just clear this up because I got told midweek there's been unrest in the club, right? But I didn't know who it was, and the person talking to me didn't know either, right? When we discussed it, we thought it was around the Dominguez Instagram post, where he, for those of you who haven't seen, we did a video on it midweek. He put a post up saying bench warming, basically him and Sosa, right? Now, reason I didn't bring it up until today was because Nuno came out and said that Danilo's head isn't quite right or something like that, because he got dropped completely from the squad. Now, I'm not taking it any further than that. I'm looking into it, but putting 2 and 2 together from what I got told midweek, and obviously what Nuno himself has said pre-match, I think it was pre-match he said it, then you have to surmise that this is about Danilo. But I can't confirm it for sure. When I can, obviously we'll chuck a video out for you guys on it. But I agree, man. If there's unrest, sort it out like men.
Yeah, sort it out. We don't
just
need to start banishing players straight away.
If it's in the midfield, we're overstaffed there anyway. So whoever's complaining can go on loan to Olympiacos.
Rob, I've always been a massive Dominguez fan, but after today, I know it's not just one game.
Yeah,
but I ignore a lot of his faults because I like him so much. But today it was dreadful, and I would rather have had Danilo in there today, if I'm honest.
I would rather have had.
Me too. It's easy to say get rid, but you have to be, as a manager, you have to manage, and part of management is creating that squad And if somebody's not in line with it, you've got two choices, as we've said. You either kick them out or you try and get them back in. And I hope he tries to get him back in, because Danilo is a talented footballer. And I wouldn't like to see him go for virtually nothing, which he would do because of his injury.
Maybe by managing, he shouldn't have taken them all on a half season up to Dubai. Because since then, we've been downhill.
I don't like that narrative. I don't like that.
It's ridiculous. Just ignore it, Ed.
It's true, though. It's true, though.
No, it's not. It's not.
You say that, but a lot of people in the chat have been saying that about Dubai.
No, but I mean,
you can say that, but look at these games. Look at the reverse games. Look at the reverse games that we've just lost.
These three teams were draw, loss at home that we've just had. They are unfortunately not our favourite opponents. Not making any excuses, but
sorry, the defeat against.
Something could have kicked off in Dubai. I do agree with that. That's a possibility.
That's possible.
But that's not because they're in Dubai necessarily, is it?
No.
Okay, let's not speculate on what we don't know about. Let's focus on what we do know about. And Dominguez, he was appalling today. I'm just looking at some of his stats on Sofascore, which you've downloaded it. He had 15 duels, 13 of them on the ground. He won 7. Aerial duels, 2 out of 1. Passing wise, his passing wasn't bad. Apparently, he completed 95% accurate passes, 35 out of 37.
They were all sideways. None of them were progressive. And the ones he tried
to Can I just address that previous comment?
Which one was it, man?
The headless chicken one. I do understand that, but sometimes a player like Dominguez is a pressing player. That's what he's known for. Yeah. And if you're in a pressing team where you've got other players pressing as well, you look fantastic. If you're pressing on your own, then you look ridiculous. You look like you're running about for no reason. And I think that is part of the problem with Dominguez at the moment, is that other lazy bastard players aren't actually pressing as well. So he's doing it on his own, and he looks like he's running about like an idiot.
What about that 30-yard pass he played out for a corner?
Oh my God, man!
Yeah,
no, corner. I wish.
I do agree with all of it. I've just said myself about Dominguez. I think the biggest worry for me is Aina, without doubt. What hell has happened to what was the best right back in the country? All of a sudden, he is absolutely awful. Is it to do with the contract situation? What's the reason? Because it's such a fall off, and it's really depressing. He was one of our better playing both defensively and offensively.
I think that they must have, in the preparation for this, they must have watched the Fulham game, because he had an absolute stinker, and against Bournemouth. And remember, mid-game he got switched with Williams because it wasn't working. Both of our fullbacks are off the game at the minute, but I felt like today that Hall, the left back, got man of the match for Newcastle. He was coming forward. He was coming forward. He was overlapping with Gordon, and Isak was drifting left. And I felt there were times where they were playing triangles around Aina. And I mean, they identified him as the weak link. Everything came down the left, and they really got value out of that. And I do put some of the, obviously, Ilanga's not the best at tracking back. Whoever wasn't going out to help him, maybe Dominguez should have been going out to help him as well. So I do feel it was a little bit isolated, because they really picked him off.
Not valid, right?
I would say, I would go as far as saying he needs to be dropped now. He needs to be dropped for the game. Otherwise, Arsenal are going to target him on Wednesday. Sorry, I hand it back to you.
Yeah, but fortunately, they've got nobody on that side to worry about. It's going to be Trossard, I imagine. Trossard's a great player, but he's out of form. So
just before you pick up on it, just to reiterate what Rob's saying, look at Newcastle's heat, man. Let me just try and make it. Can you read that? Okay, this is their one. Look at the attacks down the left compared to the right. In the player ratings, when it came to Nico Williams, I genuinely sat there and thought, did he play? And this is why. This is why everything came down that left-hand side. Everything.
Yeah, they're left and right.
That's Aina's side, though, isn't it?
Yeah. As in
This is where Nuno didn't react again in game, because as soon as we scored, exactly what Rob's just said, and this is what I wanted to, where I was going to go. He's basically made most of my points there. They overloaded that side. They saw Aina's performance against Fulham, and they must have seen it, because that's exactly what they played on. And they overloaded that side, and that 15-20 minute spell is where they took the game away from us. And Nuno did not react. in game, he has not reacted. Whether it's with a substitution or with a change of formation, he has not reacted to it. And again, that's where his downfall is. So he can stand there on the sideline shaking his head, but he left them far.
Who was captain today? Who was captain? Because I feel like some of the reaction needs to be on the pitch. If it can't all come from the manager, the captain needs to. And was it Gibbs White?
Look how wide open we were.
Gibbs White, then Yates. They did that stupid, annoying thing where when he comes on, they switch it.
Yeah, so I felt zero leadership from Gibbs White today. I felt like the only leader on that pitch was Milenkovic, and he should be the captain.
But in that spell, Milenkovic was hiding. I'm sorry, he was. So you can say he had a good game overall, but I think in that little spell there, he that's where I expected him to step up, and he wasn't organising them. How wide open we were for their, I think it was their third goal or their fourth goal. Isak's one where it's got the deflection. We were wide open. Yeah, so we've gone rushing. We're 3-1 down, and we've gone looking. We're wide open, and we've let them in for a fourth goal, which was the killer goal in the end of the day. You know, once they've got to 4-1, they've sat back in the second half, but we've let them get to that situation. And Nuno again did not react.
Look at this, Ez. This is what I think it was you or Rob just talking about it. Isak, Gordon, who's 28 for them? I can't even remember now. Is it? It's not Willock. Yeah. So look at that triangle down our right hand side.
And the fullback backhand cross the ball as well.
So what are we going to do about Aina? What are we going to do about the Aina problem? Or should we say the right back problem? Because that's maybe
just switch Nico Williams across and you bring on Alex Moreno, who ain't much better, but whatever.
No, I would almost agree that needs to happen, because I feel like it's 3 games in a row that are not Aina's best work there. I mean, I do feel that he was probably, out of all of our team, the most involved in the game. And he did win some good tackles against Isak. That was a really interesting matchup. But he was just outnumbered. So I don't want to.
Aina there.
I don't want to pick. It wasn't all bad, right? It wasn't all bad, but because I felt like he should have received more help from the rest of the team, or indeed from the manager. And Rob, if there's something wrong, he shouldn't have played. If there's something wrong.
The reason that is because of this. We don't have a proper number 6 apart from Sangare, who hasn't had a run of form yet. And that's why all of that pressure, which is proved by the heat map, is down towards that right-hand edge of the box where Aina is. Because there's no number 6 there in front of him stopping that from happening. And we called it out and we said we needed one in Jan and we didn't get anybody. And now we're suffering the consequences.
I think Dominguez should be tracking back on that side, shouldn't he? He's the right of the 2 centre midfielders.
Dominguez wants to go forward. Dominguez wants to go back and make tackles.
And even if you are
paying Aina's duels, boys, he had 15 ground duels. He won 6. So a third of them.
That's not good.
Possession lost 24 times.
I don't think
possession loser.
I don't think that we should spend the entire program talking about Aina, though, because he wasn't the only guilty party, was he?
No.
I think it's standard so high.
Can I pick somebody else out that's not been mentioned?
I wasn't actually talking, Rob. I haven't interrupted anyone.
Thank you, Bondute. Thank you, finally. Some sense.
Sorry, go on, Ant.
Right, okay. I think everybody said that, but anyway.
Go on, Ant.
Yeah, I don't think we should spend. I mean, he's been fantastic for us since he's been here. He's had 3 absolutely atrocious games, and I would say, no problem. I'm dropping him right now. But I think there are others, and I've not got an agenda, but I've got to mention MGW again.
Please do,
because he
mentioned him.
Yeah. He just doesn't. If he's not part of an attacking flow movement, in which case he'll probably give the ball away anyway. He's not doing anything. Everybody raves about this fantastic England class player and everything, but on days like today, and it's not the first time, on days like today, he's anonymous. And when he took Anderson off and left MGW on, Anderson was at least trying. He was at least trying, and he was having some success. He was trying to pass the ball and stuff. And he took Morgan Gibbs-White off. I thought, is there something wrong with your brain? Because why would you do that? It makes no sense. Morgan Gibbs-White contributed 0 today. And that's the mark out of 10 I would give him, incidentally.
I was fuming when he took Anderson off, because I thought he was one of our best players.
Yeah, he put in a good.
I know Yates did well. Fair play to Yates, but you know, he
Yeah,
could
but
have.
rather about Anderson and Yates rather than MGW and Yates, because MGW was not going to do anything. You know,
Exactly.
It's another game though where I think Nuno just played him wrong. I don't know what his position was in that first half, because we were totally overrun in midfield. We needed a 4-3-3, and it needed to be a flat 3. Like I said, with a number 6 in the middle of them, and then you've got. We know, because we've seen Anderson and MG play it too, so we know they've got that defensive side to them. Just be disciplined. But
I'm not sure if it's Matt Guy's the guy I was arguing on Twitter with earlier.
The thing is, they were using the wings though, weren't they?
Apparently now it's negative to predict Forest losing a match.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, they were not even going through midfield really. They were just using the wings.
Absolutely. So they're using the wings. So this is where you're 4-3-3. You're out. Ones outside the 6, they're the ones who are should be tracking back with the fullbacks, you know, and just Nuno's formation again. And like I said, lack of change in game is what's costing us. It's costing us in these games where differential games. Sorry, in these differential games, that's where it's costing us. Go on.
No, I was just going to say, this is why, you know, I always go on about it, that people get so stuck on formations because footballers run about. So if you've got a 2 in the middle, but the opposition is coming down the sides, then your 2 in the middle should have the football IQ to go and cover those areas of the pitch. So it doesn't matter. You don't have to start with them out on the wide. They should have the IQ. And this is where we miss. And if they've not got the IQ, or they're under strict instructions from the manager, then it's up to the manager to say, right, Morgan, you need to move out more to the right to help to cover Lewis Hall. And Anderson, you moved more out to the left. I know that sounds like it leaves a hole.
Or Alanga drop back and help. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But they weren't coming through the middle.
No.
So my one of the, I have an issue. I'm getting seriously concerned now because I'm seeing shades of Steve Cooper. These last 3 away games have been no different to under Cooper's for me. And if we carry on like that, we are not going to stay in the Champions League places.
I think that's a little bit harsh because I think this is more down to the players than Nuno. Because for me personally, I think
we have a manager for them.
So no, but I think he set up quite well. I would have had Sangare in there instead of Dominguez, but I thought he set up with the right formation. But the players they're not working. Clearly something's happened, right? Something has happened where we've gone from being the most gelled team in the Premier League, the best.
No, I think you're reading too much into what something's happened behind the scenes and all that. I really think you are. It's on the pitch where we're struggling, and he's not getting his message across.
You can't say that and then blame the manager, because if it's on the pitch, then you're blaming the players, surely. Yeah, but
both sides of it. Nuno set them up wrong, as far as I'm concerned. It should have been rigid with that 3 in midfield, and it should have been a number 6 in there. Like I said, I don't understand why he's put Dominguez in. Yates would have been better today than Dominguez starting in that game, because I don't think he.
Yeah, I agree.
He offered anything.
Yeah,
so
that is hindsight, though. To be fair,
absolutely. Of course,
I'm not having.
But I don't think any of us would have put Dominguez in ahead of either Sangare or Yates in this game, would they? Even in hindsight.
Pick somebody else out? I've been waiting about 5 minutes. I'm going to pick somebody else out. So, where was Chris Wood today? Right? I don't remember him doing anything.
Well, we never see Chris Wood.
No, but hang on. No, even for him, right now, considering that we had about 65% possession in the second half, and we actually had more shots on target this game than Newcastle. And we scored 3 goals, none of them from Chris Wood, right? So that says to me, either he was getting really poor service or he wasn't getting into the sort of positions where he could do damage. I think he had a bad game today. Also, we had quite a few set pieces towards the end. He didn't seem to play any part in any of those.
But so Chris Wood isn't magical in the air, Rob.
I know that, but the thing is, from last game, Fulham, we had 1 chance. He took it and scored, right? But today he didn't even. We've scored 3 goals, and he's not.
It's exactly what Dave said. Hey, it was poor service.
It's not just poor service. It's not just poor service.
Every cross went over.
He always gets poor service.
I feel like he
always gets poor service.
Think how he played in the same fixture last year. He was breaking. He was getting in great positions. He was getting in behind them. I just felt like today he just. They had.
Do you want to know where Chris Wood was? Do you want to know where Chris Wood was? I'll tell you. It's a very simple stat. No, I'll tell you. Well, one, at one stage I was commentating on it, and he was a right back, and I wasn't sure it was him. It's like, what's he doing a right back? I think Jeff's mentioned it in the chat, right?
Yeah.
Secondly, here's the stat that will tell you where Chris Wood is. Matt Sells kicked the ball long 17 times with 3 completions. That's where Chris Wood was. He was underneath Dan Burn. Yet this stupid long kicking tactic. This long kicking tactic, when it's not working, stop doing it. It's just constantly long ball from Sells, long ball from Murillo.
It's a weird
maybe,
one.
Maybe that was just it. He lost the duel with Dan Burn because that guy is bigger than Carlos Miguel.
He wins those kind of battles. When he's up against a proper centre half, he normally wins it.
He doesn't.
You can't blame Wood.
When he's up against somebody who's actually smaller than him, that he doesn't seem to get the ball.
I just feel like he didn't lead the line. That's what I'm saying. I felt like he didn't lead the line. It didn't feel like a presence or any focal point for the attack.
I agree, man.
He did what he always does.
Yeah.
He has about 3 or 4 touches in the game.
Normally he's brilliant, but when did he have a bad game? Today is my answer.
Rob, what Chris Wood is good at is getting into the right position to score a goal. Today, none of those plays were made for him. Alanga was doing barely anything. I mean,
maybe he wasn't making the correct ones. I mean,
there's 2 occasions when
he was dominated in the air by Dan Burn.
Blame Chris Wood.
One at a time.
There's 2 occasions where because Hall had gone forward, Alanga was 1-on-1 with Dan Burn, and he didn't take him on. He went back into his shell where he's like not trusting his own ability, but he didn't get down the line, he didn't get crosses in. The service to Chris Wood was worse than it's been, to be fair. Look, every single cross seemed to either go over his head or beyond him, go behind him. But he had no opportunity. So I'm not going to blame Chris Wood, like Ants just said. I'm not going to blame him on today's performance. I think everybody was poor, but even in that second half, we weren't creating chances for him. That's not how we were playing. And if we were to, he would have got on the end of it. He only needs 1 or 2 chances, we know, to get a goal. So I'm not going to blame him. I'm going to blame the service today.
Let's just catch up on the super chats. By the way, there's 500 in here and 114 likes. Like, that's not helping my hot head, guys. All right, let's get it. We should be on.
I'll sort you out, mate.
Otherwise, I will not allow Ant to have a rant on today's stream for below 200 likes.
I won't be ranting. You know me.
Yeah. So get those likes up. I hope this is somewhat therapeutic. I don't know yet. Chris with the £2 says that's Newcastle's every game playing from the left. Absolutely bang on. And
excellent point.
And we didn't clock onto it.
Same with Fulham. We know Fulham.
That's what I was going to say. So I don't think they targeted Aina before the game. I really don't. I think that Anthony Gordon's mostly on that side. So I think that's what they do every game. It's just they happen to look out that Aina was in a shocking form at the moment.
Yeah, but they've also got a fullback that does cross the ball and can cross the ball. Hall, Lewis Hall, yeah, I mean, he's trying to be straight.
35 million quid, mate. 35 million quid he cost. It should be good.
Bargain. I'd say
that cost nothing.
I was playing like it. Chris, another £2 says this something's happening is BS. As I mentioned, Chris, I'm just telling you what we got told midweek. And as I said, we're not speculating on it. But as soon as we know more, we will tell you guys about it. Of course. Thank you again.
I think the way to put it is this something's happening could be BS.
Yeah. Or it could be true. Larry says, Ants looks ready to cry. Never mind, have a rant, and I'm there with him. How hot is everyone's head? Like, in the chat, just percentage me out of 100 how hot your heads are right now. Like, I'm still at like 110%, if I'm being honest. This stream's doing nothing to me. Where are you boys at? Where are you at?
I'm not there with you, mate, because I remember back to your lot after the Newcastle, Man City, and Arsenal defeat, and how you were totally in the doldrums, and I was like, no, I'm not going to be like that because we've had a good season so far. Yeah, maybe I'm happy-go-lucky, but I'm looking at these 3 or 4 games, and I didn't expect many points. But mark my words, I do think we'll get a win out of either Man City or Arsenal at home. One of those 2 games we will win at home. I guarantee you. Because look at the teams around us. Apart from Newcastle, who jumped from 8th into 5th, I think they are now. Everybody else below us lost, and Arsenal lost as well. So it's not as if we're losing ground on anybody. You know, I think overall, these 3 or 4 games, like I said, we're going to be the toughest run we're going to have before the end of the season. And I'm looking at the run after that, and that's where we got our points. That's where we got into 3rd. So I'm not disheartened, mate. I kind of expected we won't get much out of these games.
I just wanted the percentage, bro. That's all I was after.
Well, I just
how low I am. I'm not down because I kind of didn't expect anything out of these games. So if anything,
it's about expectations. It is about expectations. We knew this was going to be a horrible run.
Let me just say one point before I finish off. We were a team that survived with the lowest points last season. Yeah, and we've gone from that to being in 3rd. The expectation obviously has risen throughout the season, but be realistic. Look where we've gone from to where we are. So we can't get too down when this happens. And these teams, look at Newcastle. They went from a season where they were struggling for relegation and then ended up in Europe the following season. We've gone on a similar run, and it's taken them so many seasons to try and build up this squad. Their midfield is far better than ours. We've got so much in depth. Without even their best midfielders starting, they were stronger than us today. Even Lewis Miley, that young lad, he's got a huge future ahead of him. But I've talked about Willock a million times. You know, every time he comes on, he makes a difference for them. They have to play slightly different, but they've got better players in depth than we have. And it's taken them a few seasons to get there. So give us our time, we will get there. So let's not be too despondent, but percentages from you guys, because I'm sure it's a lot higher than mine.
Yeah, I can't happy clap.
I'm not happy clapping.
I was pretty happy.
You are actually happy.
I'm being realistic. I'm being realistic.
That was full on freaking Cooperite happy clapping right there.
The fact of the matter is, right, I've seen this before. Obviously, I saw it in Championship winning season. I saw it when we finished 3rd season. I've seen it before. So I have every expectation when we're 3rd in the table with a fantastic record after 23 games or whatever it was. Then I think I have the right to raise my expectations, and my expectations were raised by the club, by the team. Okay, they did it, and now they're letting me down, and I'm concerned. There's a trend here of going backwards, going back to that terrible football and losing. I don't mind terrible football and winning, I'll tell you right now, but terrible football and losing. Where we are lucky, a bit like last season, really. Where we are lucky. And I was talking to Wolfie earlier on about this, is that the teams around us are doing the same as us. There's nobody. I would say the top 3 is going to be Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City. The rest of us, Forest, Newcastle, Chelsea, Fulham, Bournemouth, I think that's about it. Anyway, the rest of us are all inconsistent. Now, the difference is that a lot of the other teams have been inconsistent on and off all season. We've just become inconsistent. And that is my concern. We have to stop this. That's 3 away matches in a row where we've performed abysmally and lost, and could have lost by more if we're honest. That concerns me. And I think I have a right to be disappointed and worried about that, because I want us to be in the Champions League next season. And I think we had, up until recently, a brilliant chance. That chance is slowly dwindling, except for the fact, as I say, that other teams are screwing up as well. I mean, yesterday's results were fantastic for us. Even today, Man City lost again. So we're still in it. But
I agree with you, and my issue with it is me being negative Nelly, as I get accused of. We'd won today, would have pulled a gap on Man City.
That's what I was saying. I said that. I began by saying what we did is fail to capitalize on a real. I honestly, before the weekend, I wasn't thinking like this. After the results yesterday, I thought this is a real chance for us, a real chance. And I'm going to shock you all now. Newcastle weren't brilliant. We were just terrible. Newcastle weren't frightening. Newcastle have lost against Fulham recently at home. They've lost against Bournemouth recently at home. They lost against City 4-0. They're not brilliant, but we made them look brilliant in that first half. And that's my concern. And we did it with Bournemouth. We did it with Fulham. People said that's the best they've seen Fulham play this season. Well, that's because we allowed that. That's the reason we allowed it. And if we're going to start allowing teams to play well against us, we're going to lose and we're going to drop down the table. And everybody outside the Forest fan base is going to be right. And I don't want that.
And now I'm gonna have to deal with the fucking consequences of it.
Does that cheer you all up?
Bring it on yourself.
Oh
man.
really, Rob? Where's
I
your
ain't
head?
an happy clapper. I told you I've got standards. I hold my club to, and we are in the position where we should be fighting for Champions League place right now.
My point when I referenced last season is that bear in mind, apart from two players,
You're
it's the same team, same players. You know, so
you are right. It
expectations
is a massive improvement. You are right.
absolutely.
But
So
that's
we
what
gotta
happens
be
in
real.
football.
I
That's
know,
what happens in
but-
football, isn't it? Your expectations change with the results.
But
Go on,
also,
Rob,
yeah, I
where's
do
your head
agree
at?
with you. But the other teams
It-
have got to. I'll drop in points.
Right.
Sorry, go on.
My discontent is about 30%. Do you want me to explain why?
Oh,
I mean,
please.
can we stop
That
you?
30%
No,
is
no,
that
neither.
30% is made up of what's concerning me is the things that we thought that we'd fixed have become unfixed, which was the away
Corners.
form, dealing with crosses, set pieces, the goalkeeper, yeah, not holding on to leads. So this is the things that plagued us last season, and it seems like, you know, we were reformed characters and we've reverted to type a little bit, complaining about VAR decisions. So it feels a little bit, now that's away from home, yeah. At home, I feel like we're still decent. The other thing, and this is relevant to what we're doing tomorrow night. Shut up, Seb. What we're doing tomorrow night. If we reviewed the 1994-95 season, right? So in that season where we finished third, we were second up until the winter phase. Hang on, wait, can I finish? We dropped
No,
down
save
to
it for
fifth.
tomorrow. Why are
We
you doing
dropped
it now?
down to fifth, and then we dropped down to fifth after a bad run. We had a terrible run over Christmas and New Year in that season. We lost about 5 and 6, right? And then we got it back from fifth and we finished third, right? So what I'm saying is, if we manage to somehow come out of this run of games after Man City and Arsenal, and we're still third, that's great.
I agree with that.
Still in the top 5 will
I
do
agree with
me. Still in the top 5 will do me at that stage.
Oh, yeah. I think we're all agreed on that, Ed.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I
after
still want to win the
these
league.
next couple of games. But does none of you think that we can get a win against either Arsenal or?
I think we'll be
Man City?
Arsenal. I think Arsenal are
I did
shocking.
before 2 o'clock
Yeah.
today.
I think Arsenal are ready for
Yeah.
the taking, mate.
And just for those of you wondering what Rob was talking about, there's no point in tuning in tomorrow now, because we got we got Frank Clark. He's coming on tomorrow, 8 p.m. Do not miss it. He will be telling us. I want to get a real understanding. Something you lot in the chat have asked for, and he's kindly agreed to come back on. He's going to give us a real insight into how it was for him at Forest, getting into that third place, how he maintained it. There's a lot of similarities that can be drawn between that campaign and this campaign. Yeah. We'll also be asking him what his combined 11 would be between this team and that team, and we'll be asking the panel as well. So a lot of fun stuff coming tomorrow. And the legend Frank Clark will be on, and it'll be a little good evening session with the great man. So make sure you tuned in. That's 8 p.m. tomorrow. But I'll tell you what, if we don't hit 200 likes, I'm calling Frank and telling him that you lot don't want him on. So make sure you've hit that like button. We're on 155. We're well over 500 in the house right now. Pay your rent.
So it should be at 250 then, shouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm lowering the expectations.
No, it should be 250. It should be at least half of people. That is the standard that you go by. Yeah. So we're below. It's way below standard. I expect more of them because I
like our first half performance.
Maybe we've been that riveting. We've been that riveting.
For those of you watching on your phone, just press the X button on the live chat. I know you lot like to, keyboard warrior up in there. Just press the X button, hit the like, then reopen it. Job done. We'll be at 200 likes. No problems at all. Manners cost now, says Dev Team. Absolutely, man. You entered the house, you gotta hit the like button. Okay. So we're talking about a few of these crappy performances, boys. There was another player I wanted to. Okay, can I just get this off my chest? Elanga's miss. Was I wrong with that overreact? It did happen. Can I start with that? Did it actually
It can't
Ben?
have done, mate. Seriously, it can't have done. It must be a meme. It can't actually have.
Need to sneeze, but talk about it.
Yeah, how he's not gone with his head for that, I don't understand it.
Yeah, well, yeah, why not just nod it in? It's like,
There would have been a simple nodding as well. It was
I
far,
know.
he had no chance of getting it under control at that height with his foot. So I just do not understand why he's gone for it.
You
with
say
his
that,
foot.
Ez, but I still think it's a pretty good trick to be able to get it up in the air like that.
But these other chances, this is my annoyance. Yes, the first half was awful and we let him into, but we should have come away with a point today. We missed some gilt-edged chances as far as I'm concerned. That was one of them. Murillo had one from a corner, didn't he? Where he's not even looking at the ball. It's just hit him. Yeah, so there were definitely opportunities to get back into that game and come away with a point. And then, you know, our mood might have been different, but
that's sorry to cut you. It's pertinent to your point. That's why I said earlier on that I don't think it was a tactic by Newcastle. I think they got into a mentality, because otherwise they must have known that they were under serious threat there, and they didn't change. They weren't capable. So
everyone's saying no, they just relaxed and sat back. I mean, Eddie Howe didn't look very relaxed and sat back when I was watching him on the sideline, because he was shouting and screaming at them. They went so far into their shell that they could not get the ball out. And if it wasn't, I mean, this got to give a shout out to Murillo. There was 2 1-on-1s right at the end, Callum Wilson against him, and he cut him out. Both opportunities. If a goal goes in, and obviously the game was already over, we didn't get back into it, but there were opportunities for them to go and get that fifth goal.
You can't say that. Ben's faster than Callum Wilson, man. Don't do this on Murillo in the last.
It's still a 1-on-1, mate. It's still a 1-on-1. Doesn't matter who. And he's a Premier League goal scorer.
Callum Wilson, who's older than Ant-Man and like slower than Ben.
I'm saying,
Murillo was crap today.
Okay, whatever. But there was, no, you can't say he was totally crap. I think you were way too harsh. I think you were way too harsh in your player ratings, and I understand it's your reaction straight after, but I think you were way too harsh, man. Because
you thought he had a good game.
No, I didn't think he had a good game, but I didn't think he had a 0 out of 10.
You've
got to be some balance, man.
I was pretty balanced. I could have gone into negative.
It's either 10 or it's 0. There's nothing
exactly. We either win the league or we get relegated, man. It's binary. It's binary. Yeah. But on that point, Ben, the misses, man. I mean, as much as I say, and you've agreed, and I agree with what you're saying about Newcastle stepping off, some of those misses, Murillo's header, Elanga's miss.
Yeah, that header.
Morgan Gibbs-White finally hitting the target, but straight at the keeper.
Oh God, he thought it was against Banana, didn't he? He thought, this last time I did this, the keeper dived out of the way.
Yeah,
like
last time I passed it to the goalie, he chucked it in. I wonder if it'll work again.
Yeah, he was hard to get on target, wasn't he?
I mean, we've mentioned this before. Like at this level, especially if you want to compete at the top in the Premier League, you've got to take chances like that. I mean, Morgan Gibbs-White, for me, should have really challenged the goalkeeper, and he didn't. Yes, he hit it on target, but it was straight down the keeper's throat. Murillo could have really got that on target as well. So this is the difference between if you want to be, up there with the very best, or you want to be a mid-table team. You've got to take those chances. And Elanga's miss was just, I mean, it was incredible, really. I don't know why he didn't go with a flying headbutt and just head it into the back of the goal instead of trying to punt it over the net. But you've got to take your chances. And Morgan Gibbs-White is like consistently not great at shooting. Sometimes he pulls out a worldie, but 9 out of 10 times he either punts it to the keeper or he knocks it out of play. And I think you've just got to be better than that. And the thing is with MGW is like we have these expectations because we see him as like one of the best players in the club. Well, I do personally. And you've got these expectations that they should just be that extra level above. And at the moment he's not showing that, which is pretty disappointing.
You know what I would have liked to have seen, but he's never done this, but actually push MG Dub out wide and bring Callum Hudson-Odoi there, because his shooting is lethal, mate. That's another one. All his goals have been from outside of the area this season, and that was a killer finish, mate.
Yeah, but he could.
Well, on that point, I was just going to say, because I stupidly watched the highlights back. If you watch on Callum Hudson-Odoi's goal, Pope takes a step to his left to cover off his usual bottom left corner finish. angle. And Hudson-Odoi saw it and hooked it the other way. However, he had another chance later on, and Pope took about 2 or 3 steps on that one to his left to cover off, and Callum went that way again. It's like that again. I thought his goal was brilliant. Don't get me wrong.
Brilliant.
But it's just those moments he should have realized, or someone should have pointed out, that every time you're about to shoot, Pope is trying to cover that cheat code angle, send it the other way. You know, it's like these small margins.
Yeah, but you're talking about split seconds, aren't you? I mean,
no. I'm saying it's premeditated. It's premeditated from Pope that if he's in a shooting position, I'm covering that left side more. I'm gonna steal a few yards. That's why he scored the first goal, because he was aware of it. Why was no one pointing out to him, man?
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's the only one to shoot.
I don't like how Nuno, when things aren't working, he just says, let's swap sides, Elanga and Callum Hudson-Odoi. Callum Hudson-Odoi has always been better on the left. His cheat code is RB circle to finesse the shot into the bottom or top corner. Why is he playing on the right? Why?
I thought he was all right. He was all
right, but we wanted him to be scoring. He never scores from the right.
You can't expect him to be coming in and scoring every time. I mean,
no, I'm not saying I expect him to score, but what Nuno's thing is now is, instead of making a sub at half time when everyone else is calling for it, it's no, let's swap the wingers instead. And I think Ant's frozen.
I'm going to say
Crypto. Okay, on that point then, what sub would you have made at half time? Because we all agree we would have made some sort of change. What would you have done at half time?
I mean, I would have had Dominguez off and probably put Yates or Sangare on. That would have been my first sub. I would have even been tempted to go 5 at the back, so we were just getting absolutely ran over. I would have taken Aina off, to be honest. I would have had Nico Williams on the right and put Moreno on the left.
Yeah,
because Aina for me today was dreadful, and he's not usually like that.
Did he play the whole match?
He played the whole match. Yeah. He's normally one of our best players.
I don't think Nico's playing very well at the moment, to be honest.
Let me just finish my point. None of them played that well, right? So I'm not trying to pick out individuals, but there's players in there who usually play really well, like Aina, like MGW, like Murillo, etc., etc. And when they take a step down, you can really tell, because they go from being like our best players to, oh, they're not on it this week.
Well, our whole tactic has been to block out the middle and force the opponents wide, right? Yes. And that's worked in so many games. But unfortunately, it feels to me like both of our fullbacks are on a really poor run at the moment. And not just one, not just Aina, because like Williams, they switched over in the Bournemouth game, if you remember. And then Williams got done. Williams got done, and the ball was crossed into Ouattara, who outjumped Murillo, right? So Williams was bad in that game, right? So Aina is on very bad form, and Williams is on bad form. And the problem is that we don't have a lot of depth in those positions now, because for them both to crap out at the same time is a serious problem, because we're going to have to change our style of play to compensate for it.
Rob, I've got a question for you. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. What we do, especially if you look at like tactical analysis, is we try to block out the middle of the pitch, right? But what he's trying to do is do that with effectively 2 number 8s in front. Yeah. He's doing it with an Anderson and a Dominguez. Neither of them are a number 6. Dominguez is not a number 6. He is not a defensive midfielder. And that is a core role that stops some of that pressure onto the centre backs. And without that, we've seen it now a number of times. We just completely fall apart.
Let me jump in for a second.
We're losing the game in the midfield.
That formation that you're talking about, that works when you're playing against teams that like to play cut through the middle, you know. But teams that want to play out wide and get crosses in, like Fulham, it doesn't work against them. And again with Newcastle today as well. So we set them up totally. Again, I'm putting this on Nuno.
Just to be fair, Moreno and Aina completely blocked out Liverpool, right? So when they were on form. When the fullbacks are on form, it works. When the fullbacks are not on form,
that kind of team who want to cut through you and play through you. They don't like going out wide and getting crosses in. That's not their game.
But anyway, something that we need to fix.
Game is exactly that. So you can't set up trying to block out the middle when they want the space on the width, and that's exactly what they did. And like I said, they overloaded one side, which is again like Newcastle have been playing. But Nuno's playing the same tactic against teams that aren't trying to break through the middle. And like somebody said earlier on, they didn't beat us in the midfield; they beat us out wide. So he hasn't got the right formation or setup to deal with that. And you can't use the same formation for every single game.
Hang on, I'm gonna have to call you out here because you said last GOR that against Newcastle we should go 4-2-3-1. So you can't now sit here and say Nuno didn't get the formation right.
No, I said
this is like after the Fulham game, we were saying, "Oh, we should have played 4 at the back," and then before we were all happy with the 3.
Basically, we're in shocking form away from home. It doesn't matter. I keep saying to you,
Yes,
why
exactly.
do we fucking keep going on about formations? We're in shocking form. It doesn't matter what formation we played today, we'd have been shit because that's what we are right now. We need to get back to what we were. Whilst we're playing like this, we're going nowhere. I'd like to shout out all the Forest fans, by the way, that went all that bloody way up there. God knows how they felt.
Good noise.
yeah, shout out to Nicky and everyone
They did
else.
make good noise. And also, sadly, they're all stuck on the fucking A. Oh, I'm swearing again now. You see, you got me swearing. They're stuck on the A. They're stuck on the A1. It was a crash. They've been stuck since 7 o'clock.
Seriously, is Nicky not back yet?
I don't know. This is Charlie.
He's on the coaches. He won't be.
And they've had to change the driver over because of the hours that they've been stuck there.
My God, just salt in the wounds,
let's give them our best and hope that they get back.
Yeah, we'll give them all our best, minus Nicky, who's obviously a jinx. Nicky, right?
No.
Love you really. Okay, we've still got a couple more topics that we have to cover off. We're on 189 likes.
Come on, guys.
500 plus in the house.
Right. Time to get the beer out.
More of you need to hit that like. Right. It's getting silly now. Make sure you've hit it. And there's a few things I want to talk about. And I want to come to you on this one, Matt Sells. Because we had a quick 5-minute convo earlier on. And something you said I'd completely forgot about was that flap in the first 2 minutes that put it out for a corner. And then that really did.
Hey, look, it's some live breaking news.
Stuck on coach. Big crash. They've not moved since 7 a.m.
I think you mean 7
p.m.
7 p.m.
They missed the match.
Might as well come back now.
They missed the game, thank God.
Yeah, so lucky for that. He's corrected himself. But yeah, on Sells, that set the tone for me. And then, I mean, he flapped that penalty, ended up in the net with the ball. He'd encroached anyway. He went down too quick. But go on, your thoughts on him.
No, if you got another one to give me an example, then carry on.
I just felt he went down too early. I know they deflected off Murillo, those two, but both of them, he ended up getting looped over. He reminded me a bit of Hennessy. And the first one, he was so slow going down to it. I don't know if he was unsighted, but that wasn't in the corner of the net from Miley, man. It was in the middle of the goal.
I think the last couple of games, he's not looked quite as secure, but I'm not ready to. I nearly swore again then. I'm not ready to get rid of him or anything.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
But that when a goalkeeper does that, I can guarantee that makes the strikers look up and go, their goalkeeper's a bit dodgy. And that means that, this is also, a lot of this is subconscious, but their goalkeepers, I might shoot more often and stuff like that, because it looks a bit dodgy. Look at the way he patted cake that bloody ball and, out for a corner that he should have caught. The penalty, he did jump out. He jumped out. So it would have been taken again anyway. 100%. And that, I think that caused him to not be able to get. But if he'd have just stood there, he'd have caught it.
He might have got his hand up. Yeah, literally might have just had to raise his hand and got it over the bar. But you're right. He did come forward. So
he didn't do himself any favours. And I don't see why a goalkeeper would do that. Because as I say, it would definitely have been retaken if he'd have saved it. So what's the point in doing it? So yeah, he was at fault in a way for that. But apart from that, I think we were just under so much bombardment. All the defence looked bad. There were ricochets going all over the places. Balls weren't being cleared properly. We were giving the ball back to them so they could attack us again. It was like we were in previous seasons. And that, as I keep saying, is what's scaring me. We need to get back to being cool and assertive, and Murillo and Milenkovic to be mountains that nobody can get past, and everybody's frightened to even look at them. We've got two fantastic fullbacks that not only can defend one-on-one brilliantly, but they're a danger going forward. This is what we need to get back to, because at the moment, the whole back five is not looking secure, and that is worrying. Because the reason it's especially worrying is because our tactic is to defend. If we were an attacking side or even a semi-attacking side, then you can afford for your defense to be not quite so rock solid. But we base our whole system on our defense.
The disappointment today, we took the lead, and it was only in the reverse fixture against Newcastle where we took the lead and we lost the game. And it's just that deja vu feeling. And again, against them, we've given them far too much respect. And this is what happened in the reverse fixtures against Man City and Arsenal as well. We gave them too much respect. Now, the saving factor, I think, will be that we got them 2 at home. But Newcastle are another one of those teams we do struggle. Apart from that 3-1 last season, we do generally struggle against them to get a result.
I think,
but they are so much further ahead of us in their progression. We've got to understand that. They've been building for a few more seasons than us, and they've got obviously a huge coffers which they're not able to spend. So for us not to be able to spend the money as well, we're in a very similar situation. And I'd look at their progression.
We're not
down on ourselves. Sorry, go on.
We're not. I said that Newcastle have spent more than us, and I got told no, they haven't. But I pointed out some of their players as compared with ours, and they've spent a hell of a lot. Isak was 70 million quid.
70 odd, yeah.
Chris Wood was 19. They spent 70 million euros on Tonali. Anderson was 13.
Must have been about 30, 40 million.
Ramirez was 40 million. We've got Yates, for example. Ola, their left back. Sorry, their fullback. One of their fullbacks was 35 million quid. Ours was 3. The people think because in the last 3 windows they spent the same as us. No, they spent a lot more than us. Yeah, but they've already built their squad. Just look at it. Look at the players they've got.
Exactly.
Joe Linton, he was at what 30 odd million. You know what I mean?
I think
there's no comparison. Our entire back line cost about 40 million, 35 million, something like that. They spent that on one left back. Exactly. So let's not pretend that they're the same as us. They ain't.
I think the point is though that if they're beating us where our players were trying, etc., and we put in a decent effort, then fair enough because Newcastle are a good team. But we conceded 4 goals in 15 minutes, which it's just unforgivable. Even if you're playing a better team, to do that in 15 minutes is
capitulate.
You've capitulated, and then you've changed the whole game. It's not good enough for a Premier League side.
You know what?
Can I just say one more? Anthony Gordon, 40 million. Cho and Ilanga were 18 million between them. Sorry, that's another one. Sorry,
but it's showing. But we did that, Ben, against them at home. There was that period because we took the lead. If you remember, I think was it Murillo got his goal, if I'm not mistaken there. Yeah. And then there was this period of about 15, 20 minutes in the second half where Joe Linton ripped us a new one and they scored 2 or 3 goals. So Nuno's post match presser really annoyed me because when he got asked what happened, he's like, I don't know. I haven't looked at it. What happened is the exact same thing that happened at home as well.
The thing that annoyed me about Nuno's presser was he said all the guys have got a lot of passion and confidence to try and win the game, which is absolute bollocks. If they had that, then they wouldn't have done that in the first half.
I think they did. I think they did in the second half. I mean, you've got to be fair. They did try in the second half. There's no doubt about that. And I loved it when Milenkovic scored and he ran into the net and got the ball and ran back. That was showing that they wanted to try.
Yates didn't. He just went running back saying this. So anyway, Rob, I want to ask you about this. We have to talk about the substitutions. This, as good as Nuno has been all season, this has been a thing. There's no 2 ways about it. These substitutions. Well, what's your take on the substitutions before I start running?
So I was far more critical of no subs at halftime in the Fulham game because that was absolutely crying out for it. Today, quite honestly, apart from Dominguez, who we've already talked about, we probably had our strongest lineup on the pitch. And the problem is, you want to make some changes and bring some fresh legs on, but quite honestly, today, I'm not sure who we had to bring on that would have actually improved things. I think This one, I'm not going to put so much on the manager, but just on the fact that we didn't sign anybody. I mean, if we, like last season, it turns out that Reina and Ribeiro were crap in the end. But at least, after we'd signed them, we thought, oh, let's get that Reina on, see if he's any good. Do you know what I mean? But whereas if you'd looked at the bench today, you would have thought, all right, we've got Jota and Sousa. Oh, fine, just carry on with Alanga and Hudson-Odoi. Do you know what I mean? So, unfortunately, today isn't really the day I would criticise him for the lack of subs, because I just don't think we had anyone available that would have really improved matters. Sorry to say.
The problem was,
your
Rob,
opinion.
I think the problem was, Rob, is that our problems were in defence. Midfield and defence. So it's not like what you're saying. Normally, you have an impact player to come on. When you're losing 4-1 at half time and being absolutely slaughtered as we were being in that first half, it doesn't matter who you bring up front. So it's not a case of having an impact player for them. It's a defence, and that's where our problem was. So I don't think that's relevant in that case. I don't know what he could have done.
The thing is,
I'm not sure what it was. In the Fulham game, it was pretty obvious what it was crying out for. It was like, get Hudson-Odoi on and balance it up a little bit. Have attack down both sides, hold the ball up a little bit, and that just came far too late. But today, I actually forgot about the subs bench because I was looking at it. I was thinking,
that's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing. That's what I'm saying.
I'm agreeing as well. I don't think there was much more he could have changed. I think he did have pretty much other than Dominguez, the strongest team was out there.
It'd be no good bringing Sousa on, after 25 minutes, would it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the thing is, we said this on the transfer day stream. We said we need players to come in and challenge.
Yes, we do, but they didn't come in. We can't keep going back over.
We can.
Forest didn't try and get anybody. Forest didn't try and get anybody. Are we saying? Are we genuinely saying?
As we were shot down. We were shot down for being negative. We were shot down for
being negative now.
People were saying we're where we are in the season with the players we've got.
We don't need any more. Transfer deadline. Listen, right.
This is the point we're trying to make.
What did you expect us to get out of these 3 or 4 games? Because I'm telling you now, if we don't get anything out, going back from Fulham game to the Man City game, if we don't get anything out of these 4 games, that's not going to be the difference between us finishing in the Champions League places or not. It's the rest of the games that are going after.
He's got a point. We had a shit January transfer window. It was a missed opportunity, and I think we're going to be regretting it later on in the season.
No, I don't think we are. And I think
shall I ask Anne what they're saying over on the Arsenal fan base?
We can't keep bringing that up every single stream.
Yes, we can.
This is like listening to an Arsenal podcast. This is because they're saying exactly the same, and they're right,
and rightly so.
They're right,
and rightly so. I'm sorry,
at the end of the season, but not every week. Saying we
don't bring it up every week, but the only reason I'm saying it is the only reason I'm saying it is
only when we lose, Ez. Things up when we lose.
I'm just saying it off the back of because we have no one to really bring on to challenge the position.
Exactly.
That's my point.
Yeah, I think Crypto's fully right. Sorry, Ben.
I was just going to say, if we want to be at this level, there now has to be higher expectations on the club, and we need to have people who can come on and challenge. And the difference between
I think everybody agrees, Ben, but we can't change it now, so we need to.
No, we can't change it. But a lot of people didn't, and a lot of people didn't agree.
Stop trying to bring up receipts, man. Because if we do bring up receipts, man, there's plenty on you as well. So stop.
Yeah, but no, his point is relevant to the conversation. That's what you're missing, because Rob said it wasn't on Nuno about the substitutions because there was no one to pick. What's the reason there was no one to pick? Because this is a fully fit squad, Ez.
Because we couldn't find players better than what we've got already to bring in. Simple as that. Because that's what you.
So you're telling me there was no one, yeah? You're telling me there's no one.
No, we didn't push hard enough for the ones that we were interested in, and that's a club's decision at the end of the day.
That's not the point. It came out in the Athletic that the money was there. Nuno did not want to strengthen. Based on that article, you have to surmise that Nuno was happy with the squad. That's the point Ben's making.
And he might be proven right by the end of the season still.
I hope so.
What we can't say is like but yeah, like Ant's saying, it's after a defeat. It's like another defeat we've had. If we're after a win, we're not going to be talking about a transfer window, So we do need to get back on that horse and start getting a few more points on the board. But these 3 or 4 games, mate, I always said are going to be the most difficult before the end of the season, but look at the games afterwards, man. Just have a look at those and say, tell me that not every single one of those is winnable. Every single one of them is. And we did an 8-game winning streak to get to where we are now. So let's not say we can't do that again. It's not.
Yeah, I think I think people are worried though, as I know I am, because of the trend. You have to look at trends, the way your team's playing, and we're playing poorly. It's not, if we'd have been brilliant all season and today we'd have gone there and had an off day, you could think, okay, we'll have an off day, but we'll bounce back. We always do. But it's not. It's a trend, and that's what concerns me.
My argument in respect to that is it's against the same teams we struggled against in the first half of the season. Fulham, Newcastle, coming up, Arsenal and Man City. So we'll see any points out of these games. But it's the same teams we struggled against, and our worst defeats
we're going to beat Arsenal, mate. We're going to beat Arsenal, so we'll all be happy.
I think so as well. I agree.
I'm
so confident about that game. It's ridiculous.
Even Nuno said pre-game that the second half of the season is much harder because people basically find us out. They understand.
That's bollocks.
This is what Nuno said. I'm not saying this.
I've said this on several occasions. I worked out the way Forest played after 20 minutes of the first game. You do not have to be a bloody genius to work out we defend and then we attack.
Well, look at Newcastle when we beat them 3-0 and now they've beat us 4-1. Something's changed.
Yeah, the teams have changed.
Absolutely, and look at the plays they had. When we beat them 3-1, look at the plays that they had out. They had Botman out.
They didn't have that full team.
I think next season we're going to beat Brighton 7-0 at home because we did this season.
Yeah, probably.
What the hell's that picture?
We played the same, bro.
That's crypto created zone. Okay, let's quickly touch on the Arsenal game. We got so much content coming out. I don't know where we fit in the preview. Guys, quick reminder, still over 500 of you in here. We're up to 222 likes, so well done. You got us to that 200. Let's get to 250 before the end of the stream. Yeah. Straight after this, I'm over on Never a Foul. We'll redirect you to there. Apparently, they're going to try and cook me. Good luck to them. So I'm going to need you up
because only Liverpool won. Everybody else lost all
honestly, man, the amount of hard-ons that I've had on my WhatsApp tonight, man, honestly, this feels like I'm just this short of getting dick pics on there. But anyway, just touching on the Arsenal game, and you seem very confident about this Wednesday game, which worries me now. I was confident, but you're confident now. I'm worried.
No, I'm not overconfident. I'm confident, and I'm confident because I watch a lot of Arsenal, so I know when they're playing well and when they're playing shit. And they are playing. Not only are they playing shit, but they've not got players to bring in to replace the players that are playing shit. They've got no attack. They could have played for 10 hours against a team in 16th, by the way, West Ham, 16th. Arsenal were at home. And they could have played for another 10 hours and they wouldn't have bloody scored. Yeah. And it was the same with Leicester. Leicester are really bad. All right, trust me. Their defense is really bad. It took them until the 80th minute when Mourinho came on and scored 2 goals for them, like a fluke. He came on. They played him from the start yesterday, and he didn't have a clue. He was running back to make tackles on the edge of his own box because he's a midfielder. Okay, no. So he's a midfielder. So against against Leicester and against West Ham, they created virtually nothing, and they are not good teams. They've not got the defense that we purport to have, especially at home. Let's now say after the few away results. So yes, I am confident, and not only that, I'm starting to notice that their defense is making uncharacteristic mistakes as well now. So even Raya, who I rate massively, is making mistakes. Saliba's making mistakes. Gabriel's making mistakes.
So is Milankovic.
Come on, Crypto, man.
You could be a twat sometimes, Crypto. You know that.
Sometimes.
Right?
He's not wrong, though. He's not wrong.
Right? Their best left back is Miles Lewis-Skelly. He's suspended. So they're going to have to play Calafiori. My God, if Elanga can't get past Calafiori, God help us. That guy cannot defend as a left back. Centre back is okay in the air, but as a left back, no chance. So, yes, I think I have reasons to feel confident. We're at home. The City ground will be rocking. It's a night match. It's Arsenal. man, we're gonna do them. We're gonna do them, and we're gonna do them good.
I'm
Robbie,
100% with Ant on this one. We haven't even discussed this, but I'm 100%
you're not
with
doing
him on
my
this one.
head in, man.
I don't care. We're not negative Nellies like you, bro.
He's getting like Trump. You're going to be so tired of winning. Then we're going to win some more at the end of that.
Are you confident, Rob?
Well, the thing that gives me hope is that Arsenal really need to win that game, or the title's done, right? So they are going to come at us in the same way that Brighton came at us. And that's the one thing that you can't do against Forest at the City Ground. So I think we'll get opportunities. I will disagree with what Ant just said. He said they created nothing against West Ham. According to this, they have 20 shots. So I wouldn't say that's nothing. What worries me the most...
Don't bring
Two on
stats.
target.
Use your eyes. Use your eyes, Rob. Use your eyes. Use
Two
your
on
eyes.
target. Anyway, what worries me the
Two
most
on target.
Yeah,
Did you see those two on target? They were rubbish.
Yeah,
Right,
what worries me the most is the corners, because they are specialists in
STOCKSFC.
corners, and
Stopped
we
it,
are
it.
not specialists in
Stopped it.
defending them at the minute. So,
They're not even
but-
creative
We're
from
not
corners
specialists
anymore,
at,
mate.
Rob. We're not specialists at protecting our goalkeeper, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to surround our goalkeeper,
Yeah.
and I've seen too many occasions where Sells is being pushed around, and he was flapping today as well, and that's what's made us
Good point.
susceptible.
well, Carlos Miguel was pushed around as well, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Wood was
Miguel
trying to
got
defend him and got booked. Yeah.
All right. We got a quick
You're very
reminder. There'll be a
confident then,
video.
Rob.
There'll be a video out tomorrow morning. We'll have Frank Clark at 8 o'clock. So come dressed, adequately in the chat. And make sure you're well dressed for the legend that is Frank Clark. And hopefully he gets. I'm still not cheered up. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, I'm off to go and never a foul and get my cooking.
That's why you're not.
I'll
cheering,
redirect you guys
Rob.
across. Go give their chat hell. We'll be back tomorrow. Shout out to Chris for the £2. He said, so in short, we're all happy with third.
Yeah, basically. If we were reviewing the season, then yeah, but we're reviewing the game.
Facts.
Correct.
Thank you, Chris, for the £2. Please make sure you hit the like on your way out if you haven't already. Make sure you're subscribed. Chuck in their thing in the NF never a foul chat. Third in the league, just to really annoy them.
Yeah.
All right, I'll see you over there again. I know they don't say. I know they don't. But honestly, they think they're gonna cook me. We'll see. All right, we'll see you over there, or we'll see you on tomorrow's video. 8 p.m. tomorrow for Frank Clark. Come on, you Reds.
You Reds.